Hey everybody, Deadpool's back in theaters again. Just a few short months after he was in theaters already.
And just in time for Christmas, it's Once Upon a Deadpool.
Once Upon a Deadpool.
The PG-13 version of Deadpool, kind of bolstered and bracketed with a framing device of the Princess Bride.
Fred Savage.
Mr. Fred Savage
tied to a
returns.
bed, listening to Deadpool tale the tale of Deadpool 2. But this one's, well, it's not for the kids, Roth, but it's for the teenagers, certainly.
It is. Okay, so we'll talk about the movie. We'll talk about the framing device and whether that works or not. But I think what this movie does almost more than anything is illustrate how silly the rating system is. And the reason why I say that is because they have made changes, sure, but it put like the implied profanity and the implied violence is really ultimately no different than the actual profanity and the actual violence.
I mean, it shows you what a PG-13 Deadpool movie would be, which would be not as good.
Yeah.
The edge is gone as far as like showing the language, showing the violence. It's very bloodless because it has to be, because that's how the American rating system works. Apparently, is you can say shit as much as you want. I just said it.
Yeah.
But you can't show any blood.
Shit, Dan, you could say it a shit ton more.
Exactly, you can.
It just makes no sense. I think that the blurred line is very made very clear in this movie. I also, because to me, it's you make a good point where the blood is gone and sort of the effects are gone and the gore and the shock is gone. That said, you still understand that murder is happening and people are dying and this is very violent and curses are being said. If you're a 13-year-old, you certainly understand that. So what's the difference?
Yeah, I guess the difference is the ratings board. I kind of, walking in, I had kind of hoped that they would have some fun with how they made this family friendly inside the movie itself.
Yeah.
And this is really just what the TV cut is going to be, more than anything. Like, I thought that maybe they might have some little things covering the screen, or there's a few times where they do like the censor box or stuff, or bleeps, stuff like that. But not much. It's really just the TV cut of the movie, and then the humor of it, as far as the new material, is all to these wraparound, not even wraparounds, these interstitials with Fred Savage throughout the film.
And so let's talk about that, because you're absolutely right. First of all, it's excellent use of bleeping. It's very well done. But in that sense, I think that the interstitials with Fred Savage are really funny, and they're very fun, and they add something to the movie. But the movie itself is Deadpool 2, and if you liked Deadpool 2, you will enjoy it again. It's a little less bloody. There's some of my favorite jokes were actually cut out of this version.
Yeah, well, the whole front part, the Dolly Parton 9 to 5, the setup is all gone, because I think they had to make room for all of this new material, and that's was the easiest cut. I don't think the movie itself works quite as well, just because, not necessarily because of the censorship.
But it's interrupted.
But it's interrupted, and they do cut jokes. They do cut some things out that really sell other parts of the movie. So if I'm looking at the movie Deadpool 2, this is an inferior version, just because the theatrical cut, and I guess the extended cut too, and now this is the third cut.
Yeah.
They do much more as far as like making an intelligible story. The voiceover that's in the movie is weird because it doesn't quite fit with, it has two framing devices, and this is kind of a novelty, if I'm being honest.
It's a novelty, and it's also very inside baseball. There's a runner around the Fox Disney purchase and the Fox Disney merger that happens between Fred Savage and Deadpool, not Ryan Reynolds, it's Deadpool, that I think is really funny to me, maybe to you, but the large majority of audiences, I presume, are not kind of paying really rabid attention. They don't really even know the difference between Marvel Fox or Marvel Disney and all these things. So I wonder how much of that just goes over your head if you're not paying attention to these things.
It's pretty funny, though.
It is really funny. It's a savage burn.
It is a savage burn. I like it.
GTE is like, I heard our engineer in the back actually gave me that one too. Thank you.
I was not let down by the new stuff. It's just as sharp as the stuff in the new Deadpool movie. It's funny new material. It's not just 30 seconds at the beginning and 30 seconds at the end. They do weave it throughout.
Yes.
And it's pretty uniformly funny. There is also something, if you stay around to the very end, there is sort of the obligatory scene, but there's also something very touching, like not Deadpool touching, legitimately touching at the very, 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 very end that you should stick around for. So when I'm looking at this, it's tough for me to make a recommendation in the sense that it's an inferior version of Deadpool 2. If you like the movie, it's nothing you haven't seen before. It's less than you've seen before, and I don't think it works as well. But the Fred Savage stuff is funny.
It is.
The tiebreaker for me is that they are making donations. I think it's $1 per ticket to Fudge Cancer.
Yeah.
But
I don't know why they didn't just do Bleep Cancer.
Bleep Cancer, yeah, but Fudge Cancer. But basically to raise money for cancer research. So that's kind of the tiebreaker for me in the sense of, I think it's at least a portion of that ticket is going to go to a good cause. So I will recommend it if you're a fan of Deadpool, and it's, like I said, it's a novelty, but it is funny. It definitely has some laughs, and the new stuff is very funny.
The new stuff is very, very funny. I think that they used Fred Savage really well in this, and that Fred Savage came to play as well. There are some great jokes in there. I do think it adds something to the movie. If you didn't like Deadpool 2, obviously this isn't going to be for you.
No, you're not going to like Deadpool 2.
It's not a different movie.
It's not a different movie. So you're watching the same movie essentially, but cut for television. It's like watching it on FX, but maybe even less so.
It's sort of like watching the movie cut for television that's talking about the fact that it's cut for television at the same time in a very Deadpool manner. So I think those Fred Savage interstitials are really funny. Some of my favorite parts of Deadpool 2 were lost. The tiebreaker for me too would be the donations, but I would also say this. If it weren't for those donations, I would say you don't need to see this in the theater. I think you're great seeing it at home. So what you could do is see it at home and send $2 to Fudge Cancer yourself.
That's very true. If you can stay home and make the donation, make the ticket price donation the whole price, and you can send that. That's perfectly fine too. Yeah. But it's a novelty act. But if you want a few extra laughs and throw a little support behind a good cause,
it's in there.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Deadpool 2, Once Upon a Deadpool, why not?
Why not? It's the holiday season. It's a limited engagement. Yeah. But don't go expecting a substantially different experience as far as the movie itself goes. Go for the extras.
Or if you want to impress, your 13-year-old niece or nephew, sure.
Why
not?
Why not?
You can take them to this.
So a bunch of 13-year-olds, I think, because my mom certainly would not have let me go see Deadpool 2 when I was growing up in theaters. So I think there will be a lot of teenagers, perhaps, that had parents that maybe are restrictive on their things, that will at least get to see some of what the movie experience is like.
Absolutely. I would have snuck in already, but sure, that's you. You do you. Deadpool 2, soft recommendation. Also recommendation that you could just watch this at home and make a donation of your own.
Make a donation. Either way works.
Make a donation.
Roth, that's Once Upon a Deadpool. We are preparing even more reviews. I believe we have Mary Poppins flying in tomorrow morning. So we'll be back with that. And then we've got Mortal Engines coming up this week.
Yeah. And welcome to Marwin, and that'll wrap us up.
Yeah, unless something else pops up. You never know. The train keeps rolling, Roth.
It sure does.
Cruise to the holidays. Hope you had a good fudging time watching this review.
Yeah. Now go fork yourself.